Nate, thank you. Well, you know that music sounder there. You had a choice to make last night. You could either watch Donald Trump or watch the rest of the Republican field gather for the debate in Iowa.
We're talking about both this morning with political expert Dallas Jones. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you all?
Oh, we're great and glad that you're here to break this all down for us. Okay, we were closely watching, thinking there might be a chance Trump would show up. He said he wasn't going to, and he did not.
He did not. Trump was 5 minutes away. He held an event for veterans, raised, he claims, $6 million. $1 million of it came from him, and he stuck to his guns.
So how significant, as we note that Rick Santorum and Mr. Huckabee also attended the Trump event because their debate was over, that not only us, but every news source I've seen nationally makes this a Trump story. He wasn't there.
Well, in fact, he was there. Everyone kept mentioning on the stage the fact that he wasn't there and what he would say, and still debating his policies even though he wasn't there. Meantime, you know, he was capturing still a lot of the audience, the viewing audience, by holding this event. And to add to it, you know, Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum, who I suppose had nothing better to do, decided that they would join him. And so he created his own dialogue, which at some point in watching this, I thought to myself last night, really, who is running his campaign? Because they're not doing that bad of a job.
Wow.
I tell you, really, like you said, you could feel Trump there. Everybody kept talking about him. In fact, Cruz, who's running second behind him in most polls, started out by mocking him. Let's listen in for just a moment, then we'll comment about it.
Let me say, I'm a maniac, and everyone on this stage is stupid, fat, and ugly. And Ben, you're a terrible surgeon. Now that we've gotten the Donald Trump portion out of the way,
Thought it was a good icebreaker. You know,
everyone's kind of looking at him at first. They don't know where he's going, and then they got
right. It was a good way to break the ice, but at the same time, it shows that Donald Trump is in their heads. Jeb Bush talked about Donald Trump almost every time he spoke. He was very, very much present last night at that debate.
One thing that you get, and we were just talking about this, seemingly to me it's happening even more this election cycle, is the lines and the ideas, even the stupid, corny ones, keep coming back around. At what point do we get some new stuff and substance from these people?
There's someone in their ears that's saying to them, you need to stay on message. As we approach Iowa, New Hampshire, as this thing starts to shift, you will see a change in messaging. As we move to some of the southern states, you'll see other messages kind of become more prevalent. Right now, they're talking to the people of Iowa and the people of New Hampshire.
Let's talk about Rubio for a moment, because he claims he's the only candidate who can unite the party and also take on Hillary Clinton. How do you feel about that after watching him last night?
Well, I think Rubio had a very strong showing last night. It is very clear amongst the national polls that what has to happen is that Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, they have to hold back Marco Rubio. He is the one that possibly can unite that mainstream establishment Republican group and bring them together with the more conservative Tea Party sect of the party, and possibly create a pathway to the nomination. And so Rubio is very much viable and could possibly be the one to bring the party together.
One name, pick a winner from last night.
Donald Trump.
Wasn't even there.
There you go.
All right.
Dallas Jones, we appreciate the wisdom. We'll be back.
Good to see you.
Thanks,
we'll see you soon, I know.